Have you ever paused, truly paused, in the midst of your hurried life and asked if the freedom you believe you have is truly freedom? You awaken, you go to work, you follow the invisible rules of society, and you believe that the choices you make are entirely your own. But what if all of it is just part of a larger play, an elaborate production in which you are both the audience and an unwitting actor? What if the world you perceive with your five senses is merely a veil, skillfully woven to conceal a deeper, more staggering truth about the nature of yourself and this universe? We are born into a world of labels. From the first moment, we are given a name, a nationality, a religion, and a set of beliefs. These labels become the coat we wear, a second skin we rarely shed. We become the doctor, the teacher, the artist, the father, the mother. We believe ourselves to be the sum of our memories, our achievements, and our failures. But is this who you truly are, or just the role assigned to you by the script of society? There is a strange silence behind all those titles, an empty space that our busy minds often avoid. In that space, a question echoes. Who am I, really? The truth is, the play of reality is built on consensus. We agree that money has value, that borders are real, and that the systems of power are operating in our best interest. But these are stories, man-made constructs sustained across generations. And like a masterful magician, the scriptwriters of this play know that the greatest secret to control is to make the audience forget they are watching a performance. They want you to believe that the stage is the entire world and that nothing exists beyond it. However, sometimes cracks appear in the facade of reality. A strange moment of déjà vu, a dream so vivid it shakes your sense of what is real, a coincidence so perfect it could not possibly be random. These are the whispers from behind the curtain, hints that there is a machinery operating behind what we see. Like a quantum physicist who looks at a solid object and sees only a vibrating cloud of probabilities, you begin to sense that the solid, physical world around you is a far more fluid construct, one that is shaped by consciousness. And this is where the real journey begins. For centuries, humanity has searched for answers on the outside, in ancient scriptures, in the distant stars, in the teachings of masters. We built temples of stone, great cathedrals and mighty pyramids to honor and connect with the divine. But we missed a fundamental truth, one that was encoded right before our eyes, a truth so audacious it is almost unbelievable. The map to freedom, the key to unveiling the truth, is not found without, it is found within. It is written in the language of bone, flesh, and nerve. It is carved into the very architecture of your body. This is the secret that has been whispered by mystics of every tradition through the ages, from the Indian yogis who modeled their temples after the cosmic man, to the Egyptian alchemists who saw the pyramids as the spine of a god. They understood that the body is not merely a biological machine, it is a living temple, a sacred sanctuary. And the most sacred chamber, the Holy of Holies, where the secret of all secrets is kept, is your own brain. Imagine a Renaissance sculptor like Michelangelo, who saw not just a block of marble, but the angelic form imprisoned within, awaiting liberation. In the same way, those with the eyes to see will not just see a complex mass of gray tissue in your skull. They see a cosmic architecture. They see the tree of life growing in the cerebellum. They see Jacob's ladder ascending from the brainstem. They see the throne of God surrounded by the wings of the cherubim in the cerebral hemispheres. This is not poetry or metaphor. This is sacred anatomy, a truth that has been hidden, misinterpreted, and deliberately obscured by institutions of power, because they understand that a person who realizes their own inner divinity can no longer be controlled from the outside. A person who knows that the kingdom of heaven is truly within will no longer search for salvation from any earthly power. This is the truth our theme seeks to explore, the anatomical secret that the established systems, symbolized by the Church, do not want you to know. It is the truth that you carry within you a divine blueprint, an innate spiritual technology capable of perceiving truth directly, beyond all dogma and control. Spiritual awakening is not about believing in a new system. It is about recognizing the system that has always been inside you. The play continues, but you are beginning to realize that you are not just an actor. You are the scriptwriter, the director, and the stage itself. The temple was given to you at birth. The only question now is, do you dare to step inside? To truly grasp the significance of the temple within, we must first understand the architecture of the prison without. The systems of control that shape our world are not crude cages of iron and stone. They are sophisticated structures of perception, elegant illusions designed to keep our focus perpetually directed outward. They function by creating a counterfeit reality, a grand spectacle so dazzling and demanding that we never think to look for the exit. The core theme of this awakening is the recognition of this architecture, not with paranoia, but with clarity. For in seeing the design of the cage, we find the key to its door. Consider the digital world, the shimmering web of information we were promised would be our liberation. The internet was presented as a decentralized tool for global consciousness, a library of Alexandria for every home. Social media promised to connect us, to dissolve the barriers of geography and culture, creating a unified human family. Yet, what began with a utopian vision has morphed into something else entirely. Its very origins lie not in liberation, but in control. The foundational technology was developed as a military project designed to maintain command in the event of a catastrophe. That seed of control has blossomed. Today we live within a digital panopticon, a prison where the inmates willingly build their own cells and broadcast their every thought. Social media did not connect us. It monetized our connections, turning friendship into data points and emotion into algorithms. It became a finely tuned instrument of emotional manipulation, designed to trigger outrage, envy, and desire, keeping us scrolling, clicking, and distracted from the profound silence where truth resides. The promised liberation became a gilded cage, and we, its willing occupants. This pattern of inverted promises extends to the very stories we are told. The news media, which purports to be a window onto the world, is more often a carefully curated frame. It does not show you reality. It shows you a version of reality, a narrative crafted to elicit specific emotional responses. Fear is a powerful tool in this arsenal. A population kept in a constant state of low-grade anxiety is a population that is easy to manage, one that will readily surrender its freedom for the promise of security. The education system, intended to foster critical thinking and open young minds, often functions instead to standardize thought. It teaches us what to think, not how to think, rewarding conformity and memorization over genuine inquiry. It prepares us to be efficient cogs in a machine whose overall purpose we are never encouraged to question. We learn the history of kings and wars, but not the history of consciousness. We study the laws of physics, but not the laws that govern our own being. Nowhere is this stagecraft more apparent in the realm of politics. We are presented with a spectacle of opposition, left versus right, liberal versus conservative, one party against another. We are encouraged to invest our energy, our identity, and our hope in these manufactured conflicts, believing that our participation matters, that our vote is the ultimate expression of our power. But from a higher perspective, this is merely a puppet show. The actors may change, the slogans may be updated, and the dramas may seem intense, but the stage and the script remain the same. The true power, the financial and ideological forces that operate behind the curtain, are not partisan. They write the script for both sides, ensuring that no matter who wins, the fundamental structure of control remains unshaken. The illusion of choice is the most effective form of control because it makes the subject believe they are the architects of their own submission. All these systems, digital, informational, educational, and political, share a common goal: to hijack your focus. They are designed to keep your consciousness firmly anchored in the external world, the world of form, conflict, and constant stimulation. They are the noisy outer courts of the temple, filled with merchants and money changers, designed to be so distracting that you never venture further inward to find the Holy of Holies. They function by stimulating the lower, more primitive parts of the brain, the centers of fear, tribal identity, and immediate gratification. This is the great secret. The entire external matrix is a mechanism designed to prevent you from discovering the universe within your own skull. It creates a false temple out there, in government, in celebrity, in consumerism, in ideology, and demands your worship, your energy, and your attention. The greatest act of rebellion, the first true step in spiritual awakening, is to withdraw that attention. It is to turn away from the dazzling spectacle, to quiet the external noise, and to begin the sacred pilgrimage inward toward the silent, radiant sanctuary that awaits. The architecture of control we see today is not a modern invention. It is merely the newest face of a very old practice. To understand its true depth, we must look past the fleeting dramas of our time and see the echoes of rituals that have been performed for millennia. The world stage is not just a metaphor. It is a ceremonial space where symbolic narratives are enacted, not for entertainment, but as a form of ritual technology designed to shape consciousness itself. What we, the uninitiated, perceive as political spectacle, historical tradition, or even corporate branding, they, the architects, understand as the deliberate repetition of sacred patterns. Have you ever wondered why the same symbols appear across empires and ages, separated by vast oceans and centuries of time? Consider the single, all-seeing eye peering from the top of an Egyptian pyramid, emblazoned on the Great Seal of the United States, and subtly woven into the logos of global corporations. Think of the eagle, the symbol of the Roman legions, which later became the emblem of American power, or the laurel wreath used to crown Roman emperors, now a universal symbol of victory and prestige used by organizations like the United Nations. Are these mere coincidences of design, or are they a shared symbolic language, a continuity of power that flows beneath the surface of recorded history? These symbols are not simply decorations, they are sigils. They are energetic keys designed to resonate with deep archetypes within the collective human psyche. They are markers of a lineage, not of blood perhaps, but of knowledge, a lineage that understands how to use symbolic language to direct human energy and perception. This continuity is most evident in the rituals of power. Witness a royal coronation. The monarch is led into a sacred space, often an ancient cathedral built on a ley line, a place of concentrated terrestrial energy. They are anointed with sacred oil, a ritual that dates back to the pharaohs and beyond, symbolizing a direct transmission of divine authority. A crown, an object of immense symbolic weight, is placed upon their head, signifying the activation of a higher consciousness, the crown chakra in Eastern traditions. Oaths are sworn, binding the monarch to a sacred duty. Now, strip away the royal pageantry and look at a modern presidential inauguration. The president-elect places their hand on a sacred text, the Bible, for instance, and swears an oath. They are in a building of state, itself a modern temple designed with classical, sacred geometry. The ceremony is a transfer of power that is profoundly ritualistic. The costumes have changed, from robes to suits, but the underlying structure, the ritual technology, is identical. It is the symbolic death of the private citizen and the rebirth of the leader, now imbued with the authority of the state, which has become the modern stand-in for the divine. These are not empty traditions. They are carefully preserved technologies for focusing the consciousness of a nation. When millions of people watch such an event, their collective attention, their psychic energy is focused on that single point in space and time. This immense energy is then harnessed and anchored into the symbols of the state, reinforcing the structure of the reality they wish to maintain. The bloodlines often associated with these ruling classes are not merely about preserving wealth, they are about preserving the memory and the precise methodology of these rituals. They are the custodians of an ancient knowledge about how to influence the energetic field of humanity. And here we return to the temple within. Why does this symbolic technology work so effectively? Because it is a mirror, a distorted reflection of the sacred architecture inside your own brain. The external ritual is a mimicry of an internal process of awakening. The all-seeing eye they place on their pyramids and currency is a symbol of control and surveillance, but its power is drawn from the archetype of the inner third eye, the pineal gland, the seat of true vision and spiritual insight. The crown they place on the head of a king is a physical representation of the enlightened consciousness that blossoms at the crown of your own head when your spiritual energy rises. They project the symbols of your own divinity outward onto their institutions and their leaders so that you worship the reflection rather than realizing you are the source. They build their temples of stone and statecraft as a grand distraction from the living temple of flesh and consciousness that is your birthright. The spectacle is designed to capture your imaginative and energetic faculties, ensuring they are used to power their world, not to create your own. To awaken is to stop giving your power to the external symbols and to begin activating the divine originals that lie dormant within you.
Recognizing the grand architecture of control and its symbolic underpinnings is not meant to inspire fear or resignation. It is meant to illuminate the path to true freedom. Freedom is not won by fighting the external system on its own terms, for the system thrives on conflict and opposition. True freedom is an inside job. It begins with a profound shift in awareness, a deliberate reclaiming of the energy and attention that we have unknowingly surrendered. The practical integration of this knowledge into our daily lives is not about grand, dramatic gestures, but about the subtle, moment-to-moment choices of where we place our focus and how we cultivate our inner state. The unseen architecture we've discussed is not just a structure of ideas. It is an energetic one. It feeds on low-vibration emotions. Fear is its primary fuel. Fear of scarcity, fear of the other, fear of the future, fear of death. These are the currencies that power the machine. When we consume media designed to make us anxious, when we engage in divisive arguments online, when we worry incessantly about things outside our control, we are literally feeding the very system that seeks to limit us. The first practical step, therefore, is to go on an energetic diet. This means consciously choosing what information, entertainment, and social interactions we allow into our field. It means turning off the fear-mongering news, unfollowing accounts that thrive on outrage, and spending less time in environments that drain our spirit. This isn't an act of ignorance. It is an act of profound energetic hygiene. It is refusing to provide fuel for a fire that is not warming you. If their rituals are designed to create low-vibration states of being, our own personal rituals can be used to create high ones. This is where we move from being passive consumers of reality to active creators. Every act of genuine love, creativity, and gratitude is a counter-ritual that weakens the system's grip. Consider the simple act of preparing a meal with intention and love, sharing it with people you care about. In a world of fast food and mindless consumption, this becomes a sacred act. The practice of gratitude, where you genuinely take a few minutes each day to feel thankful for what you have, fundamentally rewires your brain. It shifts your focus from lack to abundance, starving the fear-based narrative. Engaging in any form of creativity, painting, writing, playing music, gardening, is a powerful act of defiance. When you create, you are channeling the divine, generative force of the universe. You are stepping into your power as a co-creator of reality, reminding yourself that you are not just a cog in a machine, but a spark of the infinite. The most potent tool in this practical integration is the one that directly interfaces with the temple within, the breath. The breath is the bridge between the conscious and subconscious, the physical and the non-physical. The mystics of all traditions understood this. Slow, deep, conscious breathing shifts your nervous system out of the fight or flight mode, the very state the external matrix seeks to keep you in, and into a state of calm, centered awareness. By simply focusing on your breath for a few minutes each day, you are performing the most fundamental ritual of all. You are entering your own temple. You are drawing your attention away from the noisy outer courts and moving it toward the silent Holy of Holies. In that silence, the grip of the external programming loosens. You begin to hear a deeper intelligence, an intuition that is your direct connection to the divine source. You cannot defeat the system by fearing it or hating it. You can only transcend it by withdrawing your energy from its game and investing that energy into building your own inner sanctuary. This shift reveals that your thoughts and emotions are not always your own. Many are implants from the collective field, programmed responses to external stimuli. The practical path is to become a watcher of your own mind. When a wave of fear or anger arises, instead of identifying with it, you can step back and ask, Is this truly mine, or is this a program running? This simple act of disidentification creates a space, and in that space, you have a choice. You can choose to let the emotion pass through you without hooking into its story. This is the ultimate act of sovereignty. It is declaring that the inner sanctum of your being is off limits to external manipulation. Every time you choose a response of compassion over one of judgment, of peace over one of anxiety, of creativity over one of consumption, you are casting a vote for a different reality. You are sending a ripple of high vibration energy into the collective, strengthening the new world, while peacefully allowing the old one to crumble under the weight of its own fear.
We have journeyed far. We began by questioning the very fabric of a reality we take for granted, sensing that we were actors on a stage not of our own making. We peered behind the curtain and saw the sophisticated architecture of control, the digital, political, and informational systems designed to keep our attention fixed outward. We then traced the lineage of this control back through the ages, recognizing a timeless symbolic language and a continuity of ritual designed to harvest our collective energy. Finally, we turned our gaze inward, discovering the practical, tangible steps of reclaiming our sovereignty, not by fighting the shadows, but by cultivating our own inner light through breath, intention, and creativity. Now we arrive at the final unifying truth, the revelation toward which all these paths have been leading. The greatest secret of all is this: the intricate prison, the grand stage, the powerful symbols, and the ancient rituals derive all their power from a single, simple source: your belief in them. The entire structure is a house of cards resting on the foundation of your unexamined consciousness. The prison door was never locked. It was an illusion painted on the wall of your own perception. And the moment you see it for what it is, you are already free. You have been taught to see yourself as a powerless subject, a pawn in a game played by kings and hidden forces. But the truth is infinitely more staggering. You are not a puppet in a pre-written play. You are the consciousness that illuminates the entire stage, the author with the power to rewrite the script at any moment. For millennia, you have been encouraged to build temples of stone and to worship gods in the sky, all as a means to keep you from discovering the truth that the temple and the Godhead reside within your own being. The anatomical architecture of your brain is not a random product of evolution. It is a divine inheritance, a cosmic technology for experiencing and shaping reality. The journey of spiritual awakening is not about becoming something you are not. It is the process of remembering what you have always been. It is the stripping away of the labels, the fears, and the programmed beliefs until all that is left is the radiant, silent awareness at your core. This is not the end of your journey. Awakening is the beginning of real life. The moment you stop sleepwalking through a script and start consciously creating your experience. Therefore, the final call is not a call to arms, but a call to stillness. It is a call to sit in the throne room of your own skull, to feel the pillar of your brainstem connecting you to both earth and sky, to see the light of your own awareness glowing from the lamp of the pineal gland, and to recognize the sacred geometry in your very perception. Stop seeking saviors, gurus, or political leaders to give you the answers. They are actors on the stage, designed to keep you in the audience. The only guidance you will ever truly need is the quiet, unwavering voice that arises from the silence within your own sacred temple. Live this truth. Walk through the world knowing what you are. When you encounter fear, see it as the fuel for the old machine and choose not to provide it. When you encounter beauty, see it as a reflection of your own inner state. When you interact with others, see them not as their labels or their roles in the play, but as fellow sparks of infinite consciousness, also on their own journey of remembering. You do not need to announce your awakening from the rooftops. You simply need to live it. This quiet, embodied sovereignty is the most revolutionary act possible. It is a frequency that disrupts the old paradigm more effectively than any protest. You are infinite consciousness, temporarily experiencing limitation, and the entire purpose of this grand cosmic play was for you to remember your own magnificence in the midst of it. The temple was never lost. It was only waiting for its sole occupant and true deity, you, to finally come